Hey everyone, so in this video we're going to go back to absolute basics and I'm going to go over how to set up a base node empire essentially, or the very bare bones startup of one based around Imperial delivery and cooking. Now this is a fundamental for AFK or semi-AFK income, and if you get this started very early when you start the game, then you're really off to a good start. Even if you have been playing the game for a long time but you just haven't really touched on life skills, then this is definitely going to be something to look at. And the beauty of this setup is, as you can see on the screen, the total contribution points are 22 for the actual node setups. Now there is a little bit more there in terms of the lodgings for the workers. You are going to probably have to add around another 10 onto there for your workers. You're going to need 5 in Velia, you're going to need just the 1 in Heidel, and you're going to need 3 out in Portaferia for fish. You're then going to need a further 1 in Olvia if you want to collect your own grapes, but I'll go into that in a second. So before we have a look at the nodes and which nodes you're going to be picking up, I want to just touch on Imperial delivery, or at least Imperial cooking, for those people that aren't aware of it, how you do it, why this is so profitable, and why it's going to be of use to you. So let's have a look at this. Okay, so we've just jumped over to my alt in Heidel. Now I only use 2 Imperial delivery vendors myself, 1 in Heidel and 1 in Olvia. It's entirely up to you which ones you choose to use, but these tend to be the most convenient for me. Now if you speak to the Imperial delivery vendor, you'll see that you can sell a quantity of crates, and these crates vary in price depending on your skill level. And the one under the food tab is based off your cooking skill. So we've got all the way up through professional and artisan as well down here. And what you'll see is that the prices do increase, but you'll also notice that there is a counter in the bottom right that shows the remaining quantity. So each server has a finite quantity of items that you can hand in. Now on top of that finite quantity, it does reset throughout the day, but you also have a counter on the left. As you can see, mine is 91 out of 91, and that's 91 deliveries that I can do per day. So I can hand in 91 crates. This is based off 1/3 of your total CP. So the beauty of this node setup, improving your CP through the cooking byproducts, means that as you progress and you continue to do this day in and day out, you'll be able to make more and more money. So it's a self-serving process that's going to allow you to continually build, which is one of the reasons why it's my fundamental when it comes to life skilling, and it's a fantastic base. So to get started, all you need to do is start cooking up a batch of whichever one of these you want to. So for example, if we have a look at boiled eggs, because it is a beginner recipe and it's also one that we'll be showing how to set the nodes up for, all you would do is take all of the eggs that you have in your storage and you would combine them with cooking wine, 3 eggs, mineral water, 6 of those, and salt, and you just cook them into batches. Do as many as you can while you're AFK. Then you would open up your processing screen, and what you'll see is that there is what looks like a sort of gourmet dish tab, and this is where you would then combine those eggs through processing into a crate. Now these crates are really heavy, so ideally you want a character that's got a decent amount of carry weight to be turning these in, or at least a character that's wearing weight increasing equipment. Relatively simple to do, but you'll find that you can only really do sort of 10 at a time, or if you're just starting out, a little bit less. But that's the very, very basics of Imperial deliveries and Imperial cooking. Okay, so now we've got that out of the way, let's dive straight into the nodes and have a look at what you're going to put your points into and why. So we're going to start off with Velia, and to be fair, Velia is going to be pretty much the hub that starts everything for most node empires. To start with, over at Velia, we're going to want to pick up the grain nodes. So over at Lagaya Farm, there's a potato node over here. And then over the exact opposite side, you've got Finto Farm. And Finto Farm is going to give you another potato node. But more importantly, it's going to give you the chicken and eggs node. So the only way to currently get eggs through gathering in nodes, at least, is through the chicken nodes. Thankfully, we're also going to use the chicken to feed our workers rather than using beer, and also use the chicken in one of the other recipes needed for Imperial cooking. So getting these to start with should be your main priority. Once you've picked up these 3, you're then going to head south and you're going to pick up Bartoli Farm, and once again this is going to give you another potato node, and it's going to give you another chicken with a chance at eggs node. So eggs are a rarer ingredient. You're going to want to try to avoid using them, but I use them personally as a backup whenever I've run out of other materials. And if you are just starting out with this, then you are going to find that the materials are really dry. It's going to take a lot of time until you've built up the workers, leveled them up to artisan, and they're quick enough to actually come out here and start to gather things. Now what you'll see there is that you need 5 workers for this, so if you don't have enough workers for all of these nodes, You can drop one of the potato nodes, or you can also pick up down here at Toscani Farm. There will be another residence, or you can turn it into another lodging in here, and this will work as well for the Velia nodes. Now that's pretty much everything from Velia. The key here are the recipes that just these few nodes are going to allow you to pick up. So let's take a quick look at those. So first of all, we have 5-grain chicken porridge, and then we also have boiled bird eggs. Now, as I said before, boiled bird eggs are something that you want to try and stay away from, purely because eggs are a bottleneck for other ingredients if you're wanting to cook later on. So you're going to want to hold on to these as much as you can. 5-grain chicken porridge though is dirt cheap to make. All you're going to have to do is grind up bird meat and grind some potatoes into wheat as well. You're going to combine that with mineral water. So the main reason that I picked these out is that they're very quick, very cheap and easy to make recipes. What you might find though is that if you are starting out from scratch, you're probably not going to have the cooking level. So what I would say to do is to just make bird meat to begin with, or make beer to begin with to feed your workers. Start making those and stocking up on the byproducts to hand in for CP as well. And that's going to be a great start to cooking. And then when you're able to start making these recipes, that's when you can start switching over to them. You will level up your processing while you're grinding these things down as well. It's not going to be significant experience, but it all adds up over time. Now, these two recipes aren't the most profitable. However, because they require so few ingredients, or at least the ingredients required like potato and chicken meat or bird meat are in abundance, you're going to find that these are the least likely, or at least the 5-grain is the least likely one that you'll run out of. Boiled bird eggs, on the other hand, like I said, with it being a bottleneck, can be a little bit of a struggle later on. But ultimately, this sets you up to make beer. It sets you up to make the chicken, or the bird meat. Sorry, I keep calling it chicken, but it's bird meat to feed your workers. This is going to keep the worker stamina going and keep them rotating constantly, so you always want to have them working. If you don't leave your PS4 on all the time, then you at least want to have them working constantly while you are online and grinding or doing other things. But that is the very basics, and that's Velia for you. So let's move on to the next portion. Now the next bit's really simple. It's actually just one node in Heidel. Now the node that you're going to want to pick up is over here at Alejandro Farm, and you're looking for the honey. The cooking honey is what we're going to want from here. Now you might be tempted to go up to Northern Guard Camp and across, but this is actually the quickest or the cheapest CP route to get to Alejandro Farm and pick up the honey. Now the honey on its own is great, but you need one other thing to be combined with it, and it's essence of liquor. Now to get essence of liquor, you need to be combining fruit with other ingredients. Now fruit you can buy from a vendor in Calfian. However, I prefer to do it this way, and I use this one grape node up here in Olvia, and I find that that tends to be more than enough to supply me for my essence of liquor. I did originally start off with buying some, and there are other fruit nodes as well. But in terms of how much essence of liquor you're going to need, this node should eventually start to provide enough once the worker is leveled up. It might take a little bit to get there, and you might not be able to do it straight away. And if so, then you can supplement either from the CM, or you can supplement it from the fruit vendor in Calfium. But these two nodes, the Caster Farm at Olvia and the Alejandro Farm honey node at Heidel, are going to cover our next two recipes. And those are essence of liquor, which you're going to be predominantly using to cook up for CP byproducts. This is one of the most cost efficient and easiest ways to gain CP. And then that's also going to be used in combination with the honey to make our honey wine, which is going to be one of the more profitable hand-ins that we have available to us. The essence of liquor is going to be incredibly cheap. You're just going to grind up the potatoes for the flour and the fruits. As I said, you can pick up from Olvia or from the Calfian vendor if you want to do it that way. This alone is going to make it really efficient for the CP gains, but then you're also going to combine this 3 honey and 2 essence of liquor to make honey wine. This you'll find that early on, especially while you have the lower level workers on the node, is going to be quite hard to sustain a high number of turn-ins, but give it a little bit of time, and before you know it, you'll have enough of a stockpile that you'll be able to start weaving this into the other recipes and start making that little bit more money from there as well. Now there is one other place that we're going to look at setting up nodes, and this is going to be one of our final dishes. As I said, this is just a very basic starter, or at least a beginner node setup for Imperial Cooking. You can progress as your skills develop. You can set up other nodes as well. This is just going to be a great base to start with. So the last and final area we're going to go over to is Portaferia. Now I've saved Porphyria for last because it is one of the places that you won't actually go to if you're a newer player for a while, but if you have been playing the game for a while, then just head on over here and pick these up. Now the main thing that we want from Porphyria is the dried fish nodes. So I've chosen Porphyria purely because they're quite cost efficient, but they also give squid. Now squid from this node is going to be a bottleneck for cooking later on, so getting this early on is definitely worth having. Personally, I put 3 nodes here. For the fish, you don't necessarily need all of these. It really depends on how much dried fish you feel that you need, but you can also pull over here and pick up a bunch more dried fish nodes if you feel that this is one of the recipes that's the most cost efficient or time efficient for you to be doing. But what we're going to be doing with these dried fish is combining them to make the dried fish recipes. Now in particular, for the purposes of Imperial cooking or Imperial delivery, we're going to be doing fried fish, but you'll find that dried fish is also useful for things like pet foods, which is another way of being self-sufficient in the game, and it's also a good money maker because it will always sell on the central market. But anyway, for the purposes of this video, all we're looking at is the fried fish recipe. Now again, you'll see this is a really dirt cheap recipe. All you're going to need is 1 fish and 3 grain flour. You're already going to be getting this from the potato nodes, so you're definitely going to be set up for making this. Now, as with the rest of the recipes, I didn't cover things like the deep frying oils or the leaving agents. Stuff like that can all be bought from the vendors that you'll find in towns. You can do a search for them. I think they're under cooking vendors, but ultimately you can pretty much find them in every single town. So a lot of these recipes require just 1 or 2 gatherable items, and the second gatherable item tends to be things like the grain flours or the potatoes. So everything that you need to get started can really cheaply be picked up from this very simple node setup. So like I said from the very start, the main purpose of this is the node setup is incredibly cheap, with a total contribution setup of 24 points before factoring in things like the lodgings that you're going to need for your workers. You really don't need to delve too deep into the node system to get set up and start making this semi-AFK income on a daily basis. This is hands down one of the main things that everybody should be doing because it completely cuts out the central marketplace and avoids tax, and allows you to start getting a feel for what it's like to make money from the materials that you're passively gathering purely from having your workers out on nodes and constantly working. Anyway guys, I'm going to leave that video as it is for now. I will be covering a couple more of these for other things like node setups for processing, along with I'm also looking at releasing a very in-depth fishing guide with the help of some of the guys from the guild. There will be a lot more coming in terms of node empires as well, and I'll be sharing some of the ways that I've built my nodes and some of the ways I'm currently making money. Although I'm not going to share everything with you, I will share a lot of the things that have got me to where I am at the moment. They might not be as profitable as they were, but they are still definitely worthwhile doing. As always, when it comes to life skilling, you need to pay attention to the marketplace and look for any niches that you can break into. You'll find that people are very reluctant to share this kind of information with the community because the more people that do these things, the less profitable they become. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you do like this type of content and you do want more, please leave a thumbs up and comment in the comment section. And as always, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.